Today I'm going to give you some of our top tips for keeping cool living in an older caravan in the heat. Okay, so number one tip, if you're planning on spending time in the top end of Australia over the summer period, plan to be on air conditioning. I know, I've got one of those guys that's, oh, I love the heat, oh, we can do it. And no, you just need air conditioning, number one. It's all right if you get some nice ocean breezes or cooler nights, and then you don't need the aircon all the time. But when you're in the tropics and you've got wet season and humidity, you can't go past having the air conditioner running just to beat the moisture inside your van. And where we are at the moment in the Pilbara, it gets to an overnight low of 29 every night. So we don't get any relief through the nights where you can just rely on running fans. So number one tip, you've got to be on mains power and you will need to have air conditioning. Bella, our dog, is 11 years old now and she just bangs up more in the heat these days. So we do have to be a little bit more aware of how hot things are going to be and plan around that as well. Plus, she's a good excuse for me to get the aircon running too. And we have a good Dometic Ibis 4 air conditioner in our van. We upgraded that a couple of years ago. But we basically live in a big tin box, and the older vans aren't quite as insulated as some of the newer vans. Our new van is going to have way better thermal properties than this one. However, the vents run directly along your roof. Now, you put a metal box in the sun in 40 plus degree heat, and the air conditioner is sitting up on the roof of that, it's going to struggle. So we get to about 40, 42 degrees, and then the aircon just doesn't really cut it inside. So 42 degrees outside, we're getting about 34, 36 inside with the air conditioner running. It just can't cope with the vents that just run straight along the roof. When your roof gets hot, you lose a lot of that cool air. Our older van has the older style 4 seasons hatches. They're really good for ventilation. However, the hot air that builds up inside that little hatch area once it gets to sort of 40 degrees outside is just crazy, and you're standing underneath it. If you put your hand up into this cavity, you can just feel the heat coming into the van. So we've got a little 12 volt ceiling fan. We've got it connected across a retractable pole that we got from Bunnings. It's just like a shower pole and a cable tie and a little gardening hook, and we just hang that over the bed, and that pushes some of the cool air from the air conditioner down into the van and circulates that cool air through the van a little bit more effectively than the air conditioner itself, which just runs the cool air along your roof. And also with the 12 volt fan, when it's not so hot outside, we can still have some air circulation in here, even just on the 12 volt system, so we don't need to have mains power to have that one running. Now, speaking of the roof hatches and losing all our cool air out through the hatch, what we've done down the other end of the van, as you can see behind me here, is we've actually insulated the second roof hatch using a windscreen protector that we just cut to shape. So we bought that from a local auto store, and we've just taped it up around the frame of the roof hatch, and it stops the hot air coming down through the hatch, but it also stops the cold air from seeping out. So it keeps that cooler air from the air conditioner, keeps it running around inside the van. That made a massive difference to the effectiveness of our air conditioner inside the van. So that was a really good tip. Another thing that struggles to stay cool in the van in the hot weather is the poor old fridge. Struggles a bit with the heat. We've got a couple of little computer fans hooked up in the ventilation area at the back of the fridge, and we've got a little switch here to just switch those on, and that helps to make the fridge cool more efficiently in the hot weather. You may have noticed it's a bit dark inside the van. That's because of this game-changing tip that someone gave us along the way that we've set up on our van, and it makes a massive difference to your temperatures inside your van. Check this out. Bells has just decided to have a wee. You come round the backside of old Myrtle, and what we've done is had a piece of sail track fitted along the top there of the wall, and we can thread a good shade sail through the sail track, and it keeps a lot of the heat off that side, that big exposed side wall of the van. Stops the heat coming in through that wall. When you've got direct sun on the side of the van, that is going to make a massive difference to the heat that comes into the van during the day. What do you think, Bells? It's a good place for lizards to hide too, isn't it? Now this last tip is one that we've only recently discovered. We're not big barbecue people and we don't have a Weber, but we've recently purchased an air fryer, my new favourite thing. Just got a cover on it to protect it from the dust outside here. So we're now doing most of our cooking outside of the van, especially oven cooking, which can take 20 minutes, half an hour, and that heats up your van so much. So to do your cooking outside the van, that makes a massive difference to how much you can keep your van cool. So we have the air fryer, we do have the little barbecue, and so cooking outside your van is a big one for keeping the inside of the van cool. Oh, starting to get sweaty out here. It's not even that hot, it's only 37 or something today. Oh, your judgment of what's hot and what's not changes after a while in the heat. So my last big tip, and this is probably the biggest life-saving tip I can give you, we run our second fridge as a freezer, and this is why. You cannot beat a good old Super Duper for beating the heat. Smoothies and Super Dupers, that is how you beat the heat. There's even a doggy icy pole in there for Bella. So there you go, there's our top tips for beating the heat. We live in our van, and we've lived in the van now for 6 years, and we work while we're travelling. So sometimes where we've stopped for work, it's been really hot places. The last few years we've worked a wet season in Broome and in Darwin, and we stopped in Cloncurry in far north Queensland. We worked on a cattle station outside of Tennant Creek. So we have seen a bit of hot weather in our time, and that's the way we like it. But we've learned a few things along the way to help manage that when we live in an older van. Old Myrtle's 20 this year and we love her. Looking forward to our new van. We've definitely learned a few things about setting up an old van to be comfortable in along the way. So if you like what you've seen, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit the bell and give us a thumbs up. And feel free to drop any other tips you might have in the comments below, because we're still learning even after 6 years.